In the history of theater, there are performers, there are stars, and then there are the innovators who change the art form forever. They don't just play a role, they invent a new way of being on stage. This is the story of one such man, a man who took the raw, chaotic energy of a burgeoning city and forged it into a new kind of hero. A man who became the first superstar of Japanese theater, only to have his final curtain fall in the most shocking way imaginable, murdered in front of a live audience. This is the story of Ichikawa Danjuro I. He was born in 1660, not into a noble family, but as the son of a commoner on the outskirts of Edo. This was the Genroku era, a time of unprecedented peace under the Tokugawa shogunate. With the wars of the past century finally over, culture was exploding. And the epicenter of this explosion was Edo, a city crackling with ambition, swagger, and a restless energy. The art form that captured the spirit best was Kabuki. Kabuki theater was the pulse of the city. It had evolved from its scandalous origins into a sophisticated, all-male art form, but the dominant style was still imported from the older, more refined cities of Kyoto and Osaka. This style, known as aragoto, was soft, elegant, and romantic. It was the art of the graceful lover, the sensitive hero. But the people of Edo were different. They were loud, brash, and proud. They were tired of elegant romance. They were hungry for a hero who reflected their own boisterous spirit. A 14-year-old actor named Ichikawa Danjuro felt this hunger in the air. Making his debut in 1673, he saw a gap in the market. He understood that Edo didn't need another pretty boy hero, it needed a superhero. He decided to give them one, by creating a style of acting so new, so aggressive, and so visually stunning that it would change Kabuki forever. He wasn't just an actor, he was a creator, a brand builder. He knew that to capture the imagination of the Edo audience, he had to be larger than life. He began experimenting with a new aesthetic, one based on power, not grace. He designed elaborate costumes that exaggerated the human form, turning an actor into a walking sculpture of muscle and might. He developed a bold, graphic style of makeup called kumadori, using lines of red and black to represent the raw power and virtue of his characters. He was building a new type of hero from the ground up, a hero for a new era, a hero forged in the swagger and confidence of Edo. All he needed was the right moment, the right stage, to unleash his creation upon the world. That moment was about to arrive. In his debut performance, Danjuro was cast in the role of the mythological hero Sakata Kintoki. The audience expected another conventional performance. They had no idea they were about to witness a revolution. What Danjuro was about to do would not only make him a star overnight, it would give birth to a style of performance so powerful, it is still practiced to this day. The year is 1673, the play is Shiteno Momiji no Edaguma. The audience settles in, expecting the familiar, graceful style of Kabuki they know and love. The young actor Ichikawa Danjuro is playing the role of the hero, Sakata Kintoki. But when he makes his entrance, the audience doesn't see a graceful hero. They see a monster, a god, a force of nature. This was the moment Kabuki changed forever. Danjuro unleashed his new creation, a style of acting he called aragoto, or rough stuff. It was the complete opposite of the soft, romantic wagoto style. Aragoto was pure distilled power. His costume was padded and oversized, transforming his body into a mountain of muscle. His face was a mask of fury, painted with the bold red and black lines of his signature kumadori. His movements were not elegant. They were explosive, a series of powerful, stylized poses and earth-shaking stomps called rock, designed to show off his character's superhuman strength. The effect on the audience was electric. They had never seen anything like it. This wasn't just acting. It was an event. The raw, untamed energy of their city was alive on stage in front of them. This new hero was not a sighing lover from Kyoto. He was an Edo-born ass-kicker. He was one of them. The performance ended in a thunderous ovation. Overnight, Ichikawa Danjuro went from being a promising newcomer to the biggest star in Japan. Aragoto became his trademark, and he became its undisputed king. The stories were simple, almost like modern comic books. A virtuous, superhuman hero faces down corrupt officials or evil demons, and after a spectacular display of power, utterly vanquishes them. It was pure escapism, a cathartic release for the common people, who saw their own frustrations and desires for justice played out on stage. Danjuro's motivation was more than just a desire for fame, it was a declaration of cultural independence. He was consciously creating a style that was Edo-mei, or Edo style, a direct challenge to the cultural dominance of the older, more aristocratic cities of Kyoto and Osaka. He was giving his city its own unique artistic voice, one that was as bold and confident as the city itself. He wasn't just an actor, he was a cultural revolutionary. He was also a shrewd businessman and a creative genius. He didn't just perform, he produced, wrote, and curated his own plays. He understood that he wasn't just selling a performance, he was selling an experience. He was selling the brand of Danjuro, the invincible hero who would always make things right. His popularity was immense. Every move he made, on stage and off, became the talk of the town. As the undisputed king of the Kabuki world, Danjuro stood at the absolute pinnacle of his profession. He was a living legend, an innovator who had single-handedly created a new art form. His power and influence were unmatched. But in the cutthroat world of theater, such towering success breeds jealousy and resentment. His greatest performance was still to come, but it would be his last, and the final act was one that no one, least of all him, could have ever seen coming. February 19, 1704, the Ichimuraza Theater in Edo. The house was packed, as it always was when the great Ichikawa Danjuro was performing. At 45 years old, he was at the absolute peak of his powers, a titan of the stage whose fame and influence were unparalleled. The audience was buzzing, ready to be transported by the raw power of his signature aragoto performance. He was in his element, performing a role he had made famous. The thunderous stomps, the powerful poses, the fierce glare of the kumadori makeup, it was everything the audience had come to see. He was invincible, a god on stage, embodying the very idea of righteous power. The story was building to its climax, the moment where the hero would confront and destroy the forces of evil. On stage with him was another actor, Ikushima Genroku. The two were in the middle of a scene. The audience watched, engrossed in the drama. Then, the unthinkable happened. In a shocking break from the choreographed performance, Genroku drew a real blade. Before anyone could react, Genroku stabbed Danjuro. The god of the stage, the invincible hero, faltered. He collapsed onto the very stage that had made him a legend. The audience, for a terrifying moment, was silent, unsure if this was part of the play. Then, chaos erupted. The line between performance and reality had been horrifically erased. Ichikawa Danjuro I, the greatest actor of his generation, was dead. He had been murdered in the middle of a performance, in front of hundreds of his adoring fans. It was an event unprecedented in the history of Japanese theater, a scandal that shook the nation. But why? What could drive a fellow actor to commit such a heinous act in the most public way imaginable? The official story was that Genroku held a grudge over a role, that he was jealous of Danjuro's success. Other rumors swirled. Was it a dispute over money, a rivalry over a lover, or was there a darker conspiracy at play? The truth remains a mystery. Ikushima Genroku was arrested, but his true motive died with him. The shocking, public nature of the murder has fueled speculation for centuries. Was Danjuro an arrogant tyrant who bullied his fellow actors and finally pushed one too far? Or was he a respected master, the victim of a deranged, jealous rival? The historical record is silent. The man was dead, his life cut short in a moment of shocking violence, but his creation, the powerful art of aragoto, was very much alive. How would the world of Kabuki, and the legacy of Danjuro himself, survive after its creator had been so brutally slain? The death of the king does not always mean the end of the kingdom. The murder of Ichikawa Danjuro sent shockwaves through Japan. The king of Kabuki was gone, but his legacy was too powerful to be buried with him. He had not just been a performer, he had been an institution builder. His innovations had become the very foundation of Edo Kabuki. The style he created, aragoto, did not die on that stage. It became the signature style of Edo Kabuki, a powerful tradition that would be passed down through generations. He had tapped into the city's soul so perfectly that his creation no longer needed him to survive. It now belonged to the culture itself. But his most enduring legacy was the creation of a dynasty. The name Ichikawa Danjuro did not die with him. It became a title, passed down from father to son, or from master to chosen disciple. To become the next Danjuro was to inherit not just a name, but a sacred duty, to preserve and perfect the art of aragoto. The Ichikawa Danjuro line became the royal family of Kabuki. Before his death, Danjuro had effectively curated a list of his greatest hits, a collection of 18 plays that best represented the art of aragoto. This collection, known as the Kabuki Hakuban, became the sacred canon of the Ichikawa school. Plays like Shibaraku, with its hero's dramatic entrance to save the innocent, and Kanjinji, a tense psychological drama, became the cornerstones of the Kabuki repertoire. To this day, performing a play from the Hakuban is a special event, a direct link back to the genius of the first Danjuro. For over 350 years, the bloodline has continued. There have been 12 Danjuros to date, each one a superstar in his own right, each one carrying the torch passed down from his legendary ancestor. The current Danjuro, Ichikawa Danjuro XIII, still performs the same roles, in the same style, with the same makeup, as his namesake did in the 17th century. It is one of the most remarkable, unbroken artistic lineages in the world. Ichikawa Danjuro I was a man who lived a life of explosive creativity and died a death of shocking brutality. He was an innovator who gave his city a voice, a superstar who became a legend, and a murder victim whose legacy proved to be immortal. He reminds us that true artistry can never be killed. It can be passed on, inherited, and kept alive, a brilliant flame that even the most violent death cannot extinguish.